My name is Dr. Allison Bryant. I am the Assistant Vice President for Corporate Relations and Chief of Staff to the President. I started programming when I was very young. I didn't know what I was doing, but it felt kind of fun. And after that, my mother had a computer in the house, and I remember in Montessori school having the opportunity to just play with the machine, and I would sit there all day, and the teacher used to be like, please go someplace else. So even though I didn't know what technology really was at the time, I continued to pursue it. So even throughout my time at Howard University, I studied technology, and I wanted to learn more about the socio-technical impact of how technology impacted our world. So that was part of the reason that I chose to go back to grad school. And Penn State specifically had an information program, which is interdisciplinary instead of maybe just computer science or just business. So it gave me the opportunity to really learn about people and how they're impacted by technology. And so that was the reason that I went there, and it was a very amazing and unique experience. When I was in the School of Business, I was the Vice President of the Executive Leadership Honors Program in the School of Business. I was an intern at WHUT, and I was the President of the Computer-Based Information Systems Society, so that's a mouthful. But I tried a lot of different leadership positions because I was really interested, again, in serving the student body and making sure that the programs that we were in were, first rate as much as possible. As Assistant Vice President of Corporate Relations, I'm looking to determine ways in which we can create transformational partnerships with our external stakeholders at Howard University. So creating new programs, experiential learning, and making sure that we connect our external corporate and community partners with the best internal stakeholders to make the academic experience here at Howard the best that it can be. I think a lot of hard work and dedication went into all of the different positions that I have. But at the end of the day, like a real love for this institution and trying to pay forward all of the different experiences that were poured into me is part of my why. Obviously, the students are what motivate me on a daily basis, and so anything that I do, whether it be administrative, faculty, etc., is always meant to grow the experiences for our students. So that really motivates me on a regular basis. Being a faculty member who is now in an administrative role that has to do with corporate relations, I feel like I have a unique perspective on what both students and faculty need. The interesting thing is that corporations tend to have the very best interests of universities at heart, but they don't always understand the inner workings. So Howard has a very unique sort of administrative style. The way in which we can accept grants and different types of funding is also unique. Advocating for resources at Howard is an important part of what I think all of either administrators or faculty do. When you want to do something sort of creative or new or exciting, it's good to be able to have a funding source that allows you some flexibility. The nice thing about being in a role where I can advocate for our students and for our faculty is that I understand how difficult sometimes it is to have all these exciting ideas and how to prioritize them. Advocacy as a woman leader is very important, and I think at Howard the nice thing is that you look around and you see other women leaders in lots of very important roles. I think it's necessary not just to speak up for being a woman in a role, but also understanding that you're setting the tone for the young women that will come after you. Being a working woman is a beautiful thing. It also requires a good deal of planning, depending on what your life looks like. So I'm the mother of 2 young kids, and I especially enjoy my work life, but I also know that I'm a role model and representation for my children. I believe the center is uniquely poised to ensure that women see different versions of themselves. So you can see leadership in all different types of industries, across different backgrounds, and I think that showing the vision of what women's leadership looks like, being able to hear from them and to know that you're not alone. If you want to be in a leadership position, if that's something that you aspire towards, that there are so many different representations here at Howard to keep you going. And these are the same people that you can reach out to for mentorship, for advice, and know that they are in support of you as well as the community. I think leading by example is very key because you have to remember it's not only about what you do when you're at home on the computer or in a room by yourself, but you're always being watched, especially on a university campus. I think our role is to make sure that people see a vision of excellence. And so that can't happen if we are not doing our best in all circumstances. So whether it's, you're walking across the yard during homecoming or you are attending a meeting, always making sure that you are giving your best of your time and your intelligence and a kind word for someone, I think can go a long way. Women leaders carry a lot of different characteristics. I think sometimes a challenge that we face is the idea that we have to be all things. I feel like the bar is set really high for the understanding and that women have to demonstrate in leadership. And it's good because often women are able to do that. But I think that if you don't necessarily carry all of those things with you all the time, that's okay. But the expectation sometimes is there. So reminding yourself that you're good at what you do, you are passionate about the work that you do, doesn't mean that you have to be all things to all people. It's really important to have a support system, and it doesn't have to come from one place. I have been honored to have a family who's very supportive, mentors who've looked out for me, and champions who've been in rooms and said my name when I wasn't there. So making good connections with people around you, being supportive of them, and then working hard really does come a long way for what you want to do in life. There are going to be bumps, there are going to be barriers, but I think you can get through them if you have a support system to reinforce what you believe about yourself and the value that you bring forward. Mentorship is really key to leadership, and I advocate for people to find different types of mentors. So while you may have a professional mentor, you may also need a personal mentor. You might need a mentor who helps you with spiritual, different types of topics, but always having people who can answer your questions, that you can feel that you can go to when you're feeling vulnerable or scared or nervous, people who are going to encourage you through the hard times as well as the good times. I think it makes a difference in allowing you to continue on the trajectory that you have versus maybe being derailed by different experiences. I've been always so motivated to pay it forward here at Howard because I remember how people poured into me, encouraged me, prayed for me, talked to me, gave me hugs when I needed them. So being here just makes me feel a real responsibility to do that for others. Howard has an amazing mission that I think I'm in a unique position to fulfill because I was a student, as a faculty member, and now as an administrator. I think regularly about truth and service. There are lots of misconceptions and misinformation that I think exist in the world today, and I try as best as possible in both of my roles to make sure that clear information is available. We are in a unique space right now because people are really interested in supporting underrepresented groups, specifically in business, but across all disciplines, to be fair. I've always advocated to make sure that the conversation on any project team or in any organization has multiple different types of diversity of thought. And you can't get that when you have all of the same types of people in the room. You want to bring people from different experiences, different backgrounds, and the wonderful thing about Howard is that you can find so much diversity of nationality, geographical background, orientation, thought, etc. We're uniquely positioned to be able to allow women to make contributions across the campus. We have a number of women who are groundbreaking in the work that they do, and I think they've been given the space and opportunity to demonstrate that, and that has allowed them to shine and rise in the ranks here. I've learned that leadership is not one size fits all, but a lot of it is trial by fire. And learning how to make a mistake, how to apologize, how to regroup and be adaptable, and how to really focus on what your North Star is. Whatever motivates you is what's going to keep you going through the tough times. And I think that having a real belief in the development of the people that work with you has what sustained me as well. I would love for my legacy as a leader to be that I cared about people. I cared about them personally and professionally. I would like people to know that I want them to be their very best selves at work, and that I would fight for whatever resource or materials that would help them do their job better, and that I would always advocate so that they could be the best version of themselves that's possible. My top 3 qualities or values as a woman leader that I think are very important are persistence. In today's environment, whether you're in industry, in academia, Making sure that you are persistent about what your goals are, about what your values are, and about how you work, I think is extremely important. I also believe that communication is key to leadership. Being able to talk, write, and make sure that your message is conveyed to the people that you work with and for is critically important. And empathy, I think, is always at the center of leadership because it's allowing people to know who you are, understand who they are, and lead by understanding them as a human being versus just an employee or someone who you see from 9 to 5.